Good evening and welcome to Cherries Red Army, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us live and interactive on YouTube for this transfer show special deadline day tomorrow. Going to talk about that later on. And we're also going to review AFC Bournemouth's transfer window. I've got John, Aaron and Steve with me, and we'll also have some fan contributions throughout the evening. If you are joining us live, do use that interactive chat. If you're a subscriber, you can use it and we want to get your thoughts. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. In 20 minutes time, you could be using the interactive chat. Also, do hit the like button. It helps this video grow after it's finished. So please do support the channel. If you're watching this back on replay, thank you very much. And do use the comments. Well, it's the panel from Cherries in Focus, episode 7. Jon Spark, how are you? We won in the Carabao Cup. More importantly, we won a football match.
Yeah, just about. Evening, everyone. We'll talk more about the match on the next Cherries in Focus on Monday, probably. But for now, it's a transfer focus special, and fair to say we've had a pretty decent transfer window, to put it mildly.
Pretty decent, and the rumours are starting to go around a little bit on top of deadline day. Aaron, just got back from refereeing. How's your week been?
Yeah, very good. Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow night because, I just don't like the fact the transfer window shuts after the season starts. You know who's in your squad, who you're going to play, the opposition team. So, as John said, it's been a great window so far. Can there be one more magic day tomorrow? We'll see.
Steve, you got to Swansea and back in one piece. It might have been late, though. You got Andoni's shirt on. How you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah, it's a long old day on Tuesday. Well, Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday, wasn't it? I don't even know what day it is. So much travelling, but yeah, great to see a win. The boys pulled it out of the bag. Eventually, we've got a bit of momentum, possibly.
Yeah, you wanted the win. They delivered. Ryan Christie delivered. We'll talk about that in Cherries in Focus, episode 8. Who's joining us on YouTube then? Thank you very much, Chris. Good to see you. Stephen Dyer from up north. Thank you very much. We've got Auntie Skeptic. Thank you, Mark and Bev. We've also got Mark Singleton, Sammy Nell. Hope you're doing well. Mark Cole. We have also got Ben Youssef. We've got Cameron Meach joining us this evening. And anyone else joining us live on YouTube, do let us know your thoughts on the interactive chat. Now, first of all, guys, I do want to open this show just going over the departures from AFC Bournemouth. We have had some players go out on free transfers, end of contract. Let's show a little montage. But John, some we expected to go. Some, they hit the heart a little bit, like Jefferson Lerma going to Crystal Palace. And some it was the right time, I suppose, to just leave the club. But we've got some departures on the screen there. And any departures that you're not happy with?
Well, Jefferson Lerma obviously is sort of the big one, but I'm a little disappointed in the fact that I think Ben Pearson would have been he would have certainly started all 3 games, I'd imagine, as the DM. I think he really could have been the player to take that spot after Lerma left. I was always a really big fan of Jordan Zamora, so I was very disappointed to see him go, but he'll move on and do other things. I was always quite a decent fan of Stacey, and I think he could have actually worked quite nicely for us, and we've swapped him with a different Norwich right back, so it's been kind of weird on that one. And always frustrating to see a youngster move on that maybe could have possibly gotten the chance in the end with Sadie. He scored his first goal for Portsmouth on Tuesday night in the Cup. They still got knocked out, but seems like he's a bit of a fan favourite already, I think. So it's a good start for him. But and not too many I think will miss too much apart from Lerma, I think, in the end.
Yeah, Steve, Ben Pearson I thought was the right decision when it happened, because I was expecting a few CDMs to maybe come in instantly. And when you go into this season, you're actually looking at it going, actually, Ben Pearson would probably start right now. Mark Travers he looks like he's had a very good start on loan at Stoke as well. Your opinions on some of those departures?
Yeah, I think with Pearson, I think it would only be a needs must sort of start. I don't think he was quite good enough going forward, as in the club moving forward and trying to get to where they want to get to. Just think he's probably sort of top half of the Championship, maybe lower half of the sort of very bottom of the Premier League at best. I just don't know. He's a workhorse, but I think where he's gone is probably his level for me. Travers, it's a funny one that he just wants to go for game time, doesn't he? That's obviously what that's all about. And you can't blame the lad because he's sat second fiddle for quite a long time, and then we just bring someone in again, and he plays second fiddle, especially after the season he had in the Championship, getting Golden Glove and everything. I mean, much like John said, the ones you didn't want to see go with the likes of Lerma, Jay-Z, but the rest of it, I think I'm quite okay with them going.
Evening, Charlie. Hope you're doing well. And also evening to Carol. And Philip doesn't think Pearson would have started. Not with a full strength squad, Philip. I do agree with you. But maybe he would have started when we were struggling in CDM in those first couple of games. We'll never know. But Aaron, the departures, Jack Stacey's had a very good start at Norwich City. They're actually more happy to see him than Max Aarons. But again, similar to what Steve has said, I think Jack Stacey is in a league where he feels very comfortable and he's very good going up that right-hand side.
Yeah, definitely one of the best right backs in the Championship for sure. And yeah, I was a fan of Jack Stacey as well, but it's never really held down a first team spot in the Premier League. And time will tell, whether Max Aarons is a huge upgrade or not. Jury's probably still a bit out for me on him. But yeah, I like the others, Lerma. I mean, it's we can't say how many times we miss him. I knew we'd miss him. I knew we would miss him. It's so evident, I guess until Tyler Adams is fully up and running and how good he can be, that it's just a massive gaping hole in our team. He was so important to us. And I think we all knew that. But me personally, probably seeing even more now he's not there, how much we actually do miss him and how much we relied on him in so many areas. And Jay-Z as well, would have been, we talking about, we got no backup left back. And yeah, one of our own. And that was still a strange one for me. And love to see him in the squad.
Okay, so those are the departures that we've had so far in this transfer window. And tonight we are going to try and have a little bit of fun in this live stream as well. Let's just see what we're talking about here. We are talking about, let's see if I can get it on the screen, guys. Let's see if my live sharing will work. Let's see if it can run up. Here we go. Right, it's on the screen now. So we're going to play a little game throughout the evening where you'll see the tier list on the screen, slightly different with a twist here. Minus Roman Fabre, who was loaned straight out to Lorient. We've had 7 new signings. You'll see them at the bottom of the screen. And we've got 7 rows. Signing of the window. Absolute bargain. Has exciting potential. What we needed. Good squad addition. 50-50 and backup. The twist, guys, is that we can only put one player in one row. So slightly different to a tier list and a tier maker. And as we get our fan contributions coming on throughout the evening as well, we're going to get their opinions. Look, let's get this started straight away, shall we? John, I spoke to you first, so let's just come to you. Radu, let's get Radu on the board. So when you look at Radu and the sign-in, what row would you put him in? And please do get involved in the chat. Sorry, Steve.
Radu.
Your pronunciation of it. I think we need John to pronounce every foreign player's name.
Radu.
I haven't looked up exactly how the Romanians say Radu.
I bet it's not as posh as Kirk.
I will at least give him credit. That was a decent go at Romain Fabre. There it was.
Thank you very much.
Well done. But yeah, Radu is I think the easiest one on the board is to put him as a backup. Nothing against him as a player, because we've only seen him once in a competitive fixture and a couple times off the bench in friendlies or bits of bits of time on the odd friendly. But yeah, he's the backup, the goalkeeper. It's pretty clear that Neto's the first choice. Neto has done pretty well at not messing up for basically an entire season. I did think he spilled that third goal against Liverpool, although there was a deflection, so you've got to give him a bit of the benefit of the doubt. But I don't see Radu or as Ben is telling me to roll my R's a bit, Radu, is I don't think he's likely to take anything other than a spot on the bench.
Stephen Aaron, are you going to go against John at all? Or are we going to agree across the board that Radu is in the right row?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's pretty obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I mean, Steve's the best to judge. He's the only one who's actually seen him live yet. So
I have.
Yeah.
He didn't have a lot to do but pick the ball out of his net twice, to be honest with you. He had a couple of punches first half, which, you know, some people get a bit funny about goalkeepers coming out and punching when they could catch. And they weren't even convincing punches at that. So what I've seen of him's not overwhelmed me with a load of confidence. It's certainly not enough to see him oust Neto from his number one shirt.
Okay, so that's how it works. One player, one row, and we'll complete that tier list throughout the evening very quickly. Let's just get Swanscast Media in the room. Thank you very much, Dave. Congratulations on the win in the Cups. Thank you very much. Good luck for the rest of the season to Swansea.
If they keep playing like they did against us, like, you know, that position's got to be a false position for me, because they were quite good at times, actually, Swansea.
Okie dokie. Right, John, I might need you. That's all right, I've sorted it. Okay, so we are going to start talking about our incoming so far in the transfer window. Bill Foley said before the window opened that AFC Bournemouth meant business and we might shock a few. Well, Bill Foley, by the end of this window, might have a nice album he'll like to keep in his house. Let's just remind ourselves of our current signings so far. There you go. There's our current signings so far in this transfer window. Aaron, we'd love to see all these players on the field because we want to pick up some Premier League wins. But how have you found the window so far? I'm sure you're going to probably tell me that the future looks bright and beautiful. But how would you review it so far?
I think it's been a brilliant window. I mean, you know, I think we've got what we need in certain areas. Obviously, we've bought in fullbacks, which is what we desperately needed. We have bought in a Lerma replacement type. Obviously, haven't seen him yet. One of the brightest talents in the game, who I think, you know, heavily sought after. We brought in, and you know, some good squad additions as well. So it's been a very good window. I think, you know, if you're looking for the perfect window, and we might come on to this later, I'd still like to see another forward option to give some competition and help to Dom. And I think, you know, we're still potentially looking at some left back cover. If there's some other movement in other areas or not as well. So, but look, once we get everyone fit, which is obviously what we've got to think about in the short term, once we get everybody fit, then we're pretty well stocked in most areas. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve, spent a lot of money and we know a lot is building towards a very, very, very good side. A lot of youth in there. How would you review the window up to this point?
Yeah, I mean, you can't be disappointed with it, can you? And you can't really say that Bill's not put his money where his mouth is. You know, I think I saw a graphic on Match of the Day. We're one of the highest spenders over the window. I think it's 4th or 5th or something like that in spend. So, you know, hats off to the guy. He's going for it. And like you say, there's a particular model that seems to be being followed with youth, potential resale value. So I'm overly happy with it. Like Aaron said, we're filling those gaps that we had, and their quality as well. It's not just some players that are coming in and you're sort of a little bit unsure of whether they're how good they're going to be, like we have done in the past. There's real quality there that we're bringing in, and prospects that have got a lot of quality as well. Just like we've said, we need to get them out on the pitch, off the injury table, and back onto that pitch as soon as possible, pick up some points.
John, what have you made of some of those players that have already been able to put on the shirt and play in those 3 Premier League games and potentially in the Carabao Cup?
Well, the ones we brought in that have played so far, I suppose that list is Kirk, Aarons, and, well, I guess Radu as well. And then we've got Justin Cliver. I think that's the full list. Am I missing anyone? Traore as well, although I suppose he was already here. And I do want to see more of Traore, and was delighted for him with his goal. I mean, you could see in the celebration just how much it felt like like the world was being lifted off his shoulders, or being punched off his shoulders, as was in his celebration. But Aarons, I want to see more of going forward. I think he's just lacking fitness still, in terms of he's not being asked to do quite as much because of his time away with the under-21s and the lack of a break. I think he's just not being asked to really bomb on as much as I'm hoping that he will do further into the season. Whereas Kirk looks like, looks absolutely brilliant. He does worry you at times a little bit defensively. He is one to dive in. He's quite unorthodox with the way he tries to block things at times, but the way he bombs forward is just, he gets you off your feet straight away as soon as he gets into the opposition half. And that one's great to see, because I don't think we've had a left back that really sort of gets forward like that since Daniels. I would say, it certainly wasn't Rico, and Leif Davis didn't quite do it for us. You think back to the other left back options we've had over the last half a decade, and Kirk is something special. So looking forward to seeing when the other ones eventually join us. But just in general, I think the actual sort of places that we've recruited in so far has been exactly what I would have wanted, if not a little bit more on top of that. And Cliver as well. I forgot to mention Cliver. I've liked him at moments, but I still think he needs to combine better with his teammates, and there's more to come from him for me.
We can be a little bit impatient, guys, can't we, when the transfer window starts and we start to get a bit nervous, and there are plenty of time left. And we know that the scouting team and recruitment team are working hard, but we just want to make sure we're in the best place possible to hit the first game of the season. And we weren't fully there, and we probably would have been if some of these players weren't injured. But I do look back at this transfer window and think, we have made some really good signings that on paper have got some real potential, Steve.
Sorry for someone speaking my coffee. Yes, we have. And I just hope it all works well and it all goes to plan, because I know the media are sitting there with their little narrative of, oh, you sacked Gary O'Neill, and they all seemingly want it to backfire on us. But like Jon said, we've seen some of these players come in, and as he said, they do look good. And interestingly, when you say about Aarons getting forward, with second half against Swansea, I felt he did get forward a lot more, and it combined up with Brooks very well, and that's where 2 of our goals came from. That sort of stuff. He was down that wing a lot more than he was in the first half, and we were much more potent. That was quite clear to see, and I felt that was kind of the similar thing at West Ham. That after we went that goal down, those 2 fullbacks really got forward and joined in and made us more of a threat. So, those 2 fullbacks for me are ideal for us, and especially in this system he wants to play.
If I was to ask you to rate the window so far, Aaron, with 24 and a bit hours left to go, how would you rate it from your initial expectation?
Well, on the basis that Scott and Adams are probably our 2 best signings in the window, along with Kirkes, very high. At the beginning of the window, knowing who we were going to lose, I think it's got to be an 8 out of 10 at the moment. I think, as I said, to get it to that perfect one, which isn't always easy with the financial fair play rules and the money available and the budget, and obviously getting players is never easy anyway. another couple of additions would probably completely top it off. But 8.5, very exciting window.
Half John, are you there or thereabouts?
Yeah, I'd say 8.5 at the moment is where I'm going right now. I think you could bring that down a little bit if you sort of treat the losses of Lerma, basically just the loss of Lerma and Jay-Z sort of within the window, which I say it's not really, because that was last season. It was right at the end of last season we lost them, basically. So if you ignore those and say, look at just who we brought in and who we've managed to offload, I'd certainly give it at least an 8.5, maybe even a 9. But it's just the just those last sort of bits in terms of still got a few players we definitely want to drop from the wage bill that could do with being moved on. Some are already being linked with loans and moves. There's a lot of rumours swirling about Jamal Lowe and the odd one about Kiefer Moore at the moment. And then, just still in need, still want that competitive backup striker just to add to the support for Dom. And personally, I still think we need that reserve left back. As much as Kelly can do the job there, I'd rather have a more specialised left back to fit that position. I don't think that will happen. If we did, I would think it would be sensible to try and get a youngster on loan from one of the bigger clubs. I mean, it's just been. I still feel like 8.5 seems harsh from me, given that it's probably the best transfer window we've ever had as a club, just in terms of the pure quality that's been brought in for not outrageous prices either. So, but it's still very, very good.
John, you may have to wait a little bit longer for your proper left back cover. Omid says Aarons could play left back. Smudge, when he's fit, we know he can play left back. Fredericks, heck, wherever he is at the moment, he could play left back if need be. I think left back cover, Steve, does potentially happen in January.
Yeah, possibly. But you could say that also about the DM position as well, couldn't you? I know we've got players that can play there, but they're not in the mould of a Lerma or they're not defensively minded players like your Cooks and your Rothwells. They're sort of I think their players just fill in a hole, really. I mean, I would go up there with the boys and I'd say sort of it is an 8 or a 9 this window. I think if we could have maybe, like Aaron pointed out, picked up another reserve striker, someone to give some serious competition to Dom, and I feel like some backup for oh Christ, I forgot his Adams. It's a backup for Adams and the left back. I mean, then you'd have to say it probably would be a 10. But 8's pretty. It's pretty. Beyond our wildest dreams. Who would have thought 10 years ago we'd be signing this sort of? We're spending 100-odd million in the transfer window. It's just bonkers in my in my view.
And this evening, we are going to introduce a couple of other fan contribution fans that want to get involved and have their say on this summer transfer window. So rolling subs for you guys tonight, by the way. So John, going to give you a little breather for 5-10 minutes. Going to bring in Josh, Bournemouth fan, to see how he feels about AFC Bournemouth's summer transfer window. And a debut for Josh Wyatt. Josh, thanks for coming on the channel. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And yes, how you feeling about the summer transfer window?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Kirk. Big fan of the show. And Bournemouth fan. It's been going for maybe 10 years, season ticket with my mum and dad. And, been there since League Two and maybe 2 stands. And just brilliant window. Really, really good window. I think we covered all really the bases we need, but as you said, maybe a striker and a left back as well.
You'll also see Josh's Twitter X handle on the screen as well, and he is doing some great stuff. I think he's a keen up and coming, want to be a journalist. Is that right, Josh?
Yeah, just getting into uni soon and doing a bit of journalism. Yeah,
nice,
great stuff. Josh, if I was to ask you your expectation from the start of the window to where we are right now, has it met your expectations? Is it more than what your expectations are? Is it just about right?
I think it's a bit higher, to be honest. I don't think Tyler Adams, I would have said, would have came in a couple of weeks ago. Alex Scott, there was so much interest. I don't think you would have really said we would have got him. And same with Kirkes. Lazio were in for him, and we hijacked that. So I'd say we're probably above what I would have expected. Yeah.
Josh,
Aaron, yeah, go on, Steve.
I was just going to say to Josh, who's the highlight for you? Which signing for you is the highlight?
Well, I'd say we need Tyler Adams more right now, but I do think the ceiling of Alex Scott is so exciting for us.
Yeah, I'm very excited by him.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
I was
We
gonna
could get
say,
a lot
Aaron,
of money for him.
Yeah, I was going to say, Aaron, I know you're desperate to see Alex Scott. I know your boys are probably desperate to see Alex Scott. You do that travel up the motorway, and we might have to wait a little bit longer for Alex Scott. We'll probably see Tyler Adams before Alex, but he is the one that could absolutely shine on Dean Court and away pitches.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you know, the two of them together will I'd imagine, be straight into our midfield, and that's what we've been lacking this season. So yeah, I'm very excited for Scott. I'm expecting maybe expecting too much. Really, he's still a very young kid who's obviously had a brilliant season to the championship. So you know, it is a step up, but you know, he's got that natural ability, carrying the ball, and just that flair. And yeah, I just can't wait to see him. There's a lot of clubs are going in for him, and the fact we've actually got him still excites me, definitely.
Right, Josh, we need your help a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to move back over to this tier list. You may or may not have seen it yet, but we've got 6 players and 6 rows. You can pick any player you want, Josh. Which player do you want to talk about?
I think we will go Alex Scott and we'll speak about him. Yeah.
Alex Scott. All right, Josh. Okay, so Alex Scott, you can potentially put him in signing of the window. Absolute bargain, has exciting potential. What we needed, good squad addition and 50-50. But you've got to bear in mind for the rest of the viewers and the rest of the fans that are coming on that you can't put 2 players in one row. Okay, so where do you want to put Alex Scott and why do you want to put him there?
I think it has to be, for me, exciting potential. As we haven't seen him yet. He's injured. He's still 19 and quite raw. You know, we've heard a lot of good things, but we haven't really seen him yet. Whereas maybe a Hamid Traore, you've seen a bit last season and Justin. But I think Scott, he could be really good, but he also could be a Jordan Ibe, and he could be downhill. He's still young, so I'd go there.
Steve, that's Josh's opinion. Do you want to challenge it? It has exciting potential is where he wants to put him. We've got this bubbling excitement. We think he's going to be great, the next Grealish. Is that about right, though? Is that the right row?
Yeah, it's exactly what I would have done. Yeah, I'm not going to call him Grealish. I'm too old for that. It's Gaza for me. But I think it's an interesting quandary because Aaron's just said there when they're both fit, Adams and Scott, they come straight into our midfield, and it really causes a headache of who's going to miss out because we were chatting on the way back from Swansea, and you've got the likes of Traore, Billing, Christie, Rothwell. You know, have all been putting in decent shifts, but who misses out? It's a nice headache to have, but it's going to upset a couple of players, I think, if they do just slot straight in.
Looks like we're going to go with that one, Josh. Very quickly, then, before we bring our next guest on, how are you feeling about tomorrow, deadline day? Are Bournemouth involved?
I think we are. By the rumours today. I mean, I don't know whether it sounds more up front with Keith obviously going and Jamal Lowe. It sounds like a striker on loan option to buy, but the Lloyd Kelly news as well is quite surprising. I think Tottenham, we may need maybe a left back and a centre back if he goes. I think because Lloyd's your centre back replacement and he's a left back, so unless it's big money, I'm not convinced by Eric Dyer. So I'm not sure about we selling him now.
We're going to talk about him in about 30 minutes' time. Also, very quickly, you've got a score prediction for Brentford away on Saturday.
I think 1-1. I'll take a point.
1-1. Josh, great contribution, great debut. Keep up the great work, and we'd love to see you again at some point in the future season that we're going to have in this season.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Josh.
Right, let's bring another one on. Let's bring... There he is. Look at that. Look at the shirt.
Can I rotate out?
Why would you do that?
Ben Youssef, how
Hello,
are you
mate.
doing? Good
Not
to
too
see you.
bad, guys. How are we all?
Great to see you on Cherries
Good
Red
to see you,
Army.
Ben.
Yeah, how are you? Nice shirt, and thanks for taking the call today.
He can find his. Aaron couldn't find his
I
original.
know, I'm
one.
gutted I can't find it. Gutted.
I've never been to your house, honest.
How you feeling about season so far before we ask you about the summer review of the transfer window?
We've got a point.
What is the point?
We're not out the cup yet. I don't know. There's lots of there's lots of good stuff to see there, isn't there? So far, you know, you can see the green shoots, but yeah, we just got to get off that injury bench and see what happens after the international break in November when Scott comes back. But I mean, I'm liking the way that we're playing. I'm liking what we're doing. We didn't expect points, too many of them from these games. You know, European champions who are top of the league. You know, Spurs and Liverpool. I mean, you know, well, wow. But
Ben, you could almost be on Match of the Day. You know, I mean, their analysis on there is.
I can't. I know a little bit
horrendous.
about other teams.
Have you been surprised with the new ownership? We had a little bit of fun in January. Bill Foley said we were going to be busy or we were going to make some shock signings. I mean, they look like they're shock signings. We'll have to see if they can deliver in the Premier League and on the turf. But are you surprised or you think that it's exactly what we were told?
Oh, well, he said we'll be signing players that you wouldn't expect little old Bournemouth to sign. Okay, and if we look at the misses, the ones we didn't get in January, now the four big ones, I'm saying four if I can remember them all, that I can remember, McKennie, who Leeds took to replace Adams due to his injury, and he didn't shine, so he's off anyway. Then you've got Zaniolo, who we just missed out on, who's now going to Villa, ran off to Turkey for 6 months just to get away from Milan. And Nicholas Jackson obviously failed the medical, but is now at Chelsea and is getting so. As much as we malign Neil and Richard and Frano, they seem to be pulling the right names out their arse, don't they? Because look at what, you know, other teams are interested in the same players. And then we look at the business we've actually done this window so far. It's been brilliant. I mean, it really has been. We can't get them all on the pitch at the same time at the moment, but there's no arguing with it, really, is there? Yes, we need more cover in certain positions, absolutely. But I was looking at forwards that we might sign to support Solanke, and I never like buying someone to be a backup. I think you buy someone to replace who's there because that makes them fight for the position. That's why Mark Pugh lasted so long. How many times do we buy another left winger and then he just always just steps up?
Yeah.
You know. And then, so when I was looking at strikers online in the summer, everyone I saw, I was like, they'll never come to us. Anyone I saw that I thought was actually better than what we actually had, I was like, well, they won't come to us. Then look at one of the other ones from last January, rumour-wise. I don't know, Ings? Is that a really stupid thing to say? Bringing in more.
That is, would you not see that as more of a backup instead of direct competition, though?
He's closer to direct competition than Moore is, but equally, he spent that long on the sidelines. He wouldn't be too upset at being backup.
There was rumour of him going somewhere else, I believe. I can't think where it was, but it was rumours he was going somewhere. But
right, I've not seen those. It was just the only thing I could think of.
The fear is, though, Aaron, that we've got this high expectation of rock and roll football, chaotic football, and when you sort of list some players that in the past you thought they'll been a good fit, like your Glenn Murray that didn't quite work, but you thought that'll be a good fit, that will they be able to press? Will they be able to have that intensity for 60, 70 minutes? And that's where some of these signings that we think would probably fit in a Bournemouth side 5, 6, 7 years ago might not fit in this side, because that's why we've probably gone so youthful.
Yeah, it needs to be that intensity. I think our Iraola is definitely very in favour of pace. I think, and you know, ask any defender, they fear the most is pace. And I would like to see us bring someone who's lightning quick. Obviously, is decent as well. You know, can run the channel, stretch, play on the shoulder, which Dom doesn't always do because he drops deep and does a lot of the work. But just have someone on that shoulder and just be able to have an out ball and stretch the defence. And then, when someone's over the top through on goal, it's nothing better than that. You always got that option. And defenders are scared stiff of it. So I'd like to see us bring someone in. It's never easy to find a decent striker. I think Ben's right. I think we should be looking at a first choice striker, and then Dom has to fight his place to stay in there. There's no point in signing a backup, so to speak. But look, we obviously identified Jackson. That's going to hurt for some time, but if that's the sort of player we're looking at, he's now playing for Chelsea. Then there must be others out there, in Europe and playing for teams who aren't, top players, which I don't think Jackson is, but he would have been a hell of a signing for us. So there must be others out there. I mean, Everton just signed Beto. I don't know much about him at all, but that's the sort of player we're looking for. Yeah. I mean, against Don.
Sorry, it was Everton that were linked with Ings as well.
Right. Look, I mean, I would be very surprised if we don't sign a striker tomorrow. I think more will go out, but then I saw yesterday Iriola said he's in his plans. I don't know how true that is. I would worry if that's what we're just left with, personally.
Ben, I'm never too sure if it being quiet is a good thing or a bad thing. Do you expect us to be part of deadline day again tomorrow?
With the rumours swirling around today about Lloyd Kelly and Kiefer Moore, then we can't let either of those two things happen without doing something. So I'm guessing there'll be some movement of some kind, or there'll be no movement at all. But it'll be a frantic version of no movement, if you know what I mean. We'll be struggling to keep it safe.
We need you to help us with this version of a tier list. So there are 5 players left to pick from. I'm going to allow you to pick the player you want to talk about. And you've got signing of the window, absolute bargain, what we needed, good squad addition, 50-50 as your rows left. So who do you want to talk about?
I'm going to have to go with Milos
Kerkez. And where do you want to put him?
I'm putting him in the top bracket. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if anyone else
window. Wow. In the chat. So Ben is going for Milos Kerkez and he wants to put him in signing of the window. So in the chat, you've got about 60 seconds. Do you agree with that? Because we spoke about this, Aaron and Steve and John as well, who's coming back very, very soon. There are a few players that could go in these rows, and this is where it's going to get a little bit difficult now. Ben, why do you want to put Kerkez in that top row just before I come to Steve or Aaron?
Because he's been that good so far that I already take him for granted. I'm already just expecting the movements that he's making. I'm expecting the last-ditch tackles that he's making. And as much as I have a go at Lloyd Kelly for making last-ditch tackles, that's because he's not been covering his space. Milos has been running up and down the line making last-ditch tackles because he has to get back there to cover his space, as opposed to just being a little bit less alert than perhaps he should be. I mean, I can see by the brackets you've got and the names that you've got that you probably had in mind a specific one for each one. So if I'm blowing that out of the water, I apologise. But
we didn't.
No one knows what Kirk had in mind, to be honest.
No. we had a whole discussion about rows and columns this afternoon. That's how exciting it is.
We did. I'll tell you what is happening.
Data architect, rows and columns of my life, Aaron.
I'll tell you what is happening is the chat's agreeing with Ben. Definitely Ben will be our young player of the season, plus cheeky bet on that. John agrees with you backstage. Ian totally agrees as well. Steve, have an opinion, but it looks like the chat are going to agree with what Ben has said.
He is, I mean, we fought off some decent competition to get him, highly sought after. And when we saw him come in, even in some of the warm-up games, he was just bags of energy and up and down. And he, even when I was worried that he'd get caught out with balls in behind him, but even that, his recovery runs are so good. Like Ben said, he gets in, he doesn't dive in and make rash challenges. It looks like he's going 100 miles an hour, but he still has that awareness in him to make a decent challenge. So defensively, I've had all my sort of doubts quashed, really. And plus, he's the only one that we've really seen, of the signings. He's the one we've seen the most of so far, and he has stood out like head and shoulders above.
I mean, he could easily go in. Look, he could go in what we needed because we definitely needed a left back, and he could go in bargain because I think it was a bloody good price we got for him. But I wouldn't argue with him being in that top bracket for the reasons others did.
I agree.
Ben, you'll be able to sleep well tonight. You're going to get your way. Kerkez is going in the top row. Ben, I just want to also say thank you for all the interaction that you give us in the chat, watch-alongs with John, comments, and anyone else who is committed in the interactive chat as much as Ben. Thank you to you all. But it's a great opportunity to thank you, Ben, for the massive support you continue to give the channel.
Always.
And what's your score prediction for Saturday? Brentford away?
3-1 to us. Sorry, Sammy, I'm doing it.
Cheers, Ben. Look after yourself.
When's the next time we're going to catch you away game?
Or
if I put you on the spot there,
Forest.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. At the moment, I've no idea because work's just not mental.
Well, it'd be good to see it one sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely.
And a few emojis in there, Ben. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the game on Saturday, wherever you catch up with it. Mark, you're coming in next. I'll tell you what, Aaron, you grab yourself a drink and we'll speak to Mark Jackson. And just like that, we got Jon Spark back and we've got Mark Jackson. How you doing, Mark? Great to see you at Liverpool. Not the result we wanted, but always good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you all. Well, it was better than last year, wasn't it? So
yeah, we scored. We took the lead. We took the lead. Mark, the transfer window's nearly closed. Your review of the summer transfer window compared to what you thought was going to happen before the window opened?
Yeah, I think I echo what the others have said, really. Like, I think we're maybe one short of a perfect window. I think we've strengthened where we needed to strengthen, minus sort of up front. I think we're still lacking options up front, but I think, it's been a really positive window. And I think there will be activity tomorrow both ways. I think, and it wouldn't surprise me if a name comes out the woodwork that we've not even heard yet, because that seems to be the way that we do our business. Is all of a sudden someone appears on the timeline and then within hours they're signed. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's someone we haven't even considered yet. So one more, and I'll be really pleased. Hey,
like Ben was just saying, he's looking at these players over the summer and going, "No, we wouldn't get them. We're just, it's little Bournemouth. We couldn't entice them." But then they do pull these players out of nowhere, and you just think, how have we got them? So I'm beginning to get to that stage now where I'm looking at these players going, no, we're not going to get them. They're too big. And then actually we probably could do. I don't know. We're in that sort of space now where we're starting to attract bigger players.
And beating other teams to them as well. You look at Alex Scott.
Yeah, exactly.
Attracting sort of big players. I know, obviously, with us, compared to sort of Liverpool's or whoever else he was linked to, he's going to get first team football more than he would probably elsewhere. But they must be doing something right to be able to persuade players like that.
Can't just be the beach anymore, surely.
No, it's the fourth stand, I think, that does it. That must be.
Or is it the hospitality?
Yeah, those hospitality seats. Yeah. Haven't actually had them yet.
John, welcome back to the stream. Is it the Andoni effect as well? We spoke about this when we changed head coaches and we said we might be able to achieve our player pool that Bill Foley's talking about.
I do think that's definitely going to be part of it. Iraola got a pretty good reputation for playing exciting football for Rayo Vallecano, and he was. I'm pretty sure it was Xavi, obviously Barcelona's manager, that said that Vallecano was the most difficult team to play in the league, or called them. I don't think it was pests, but it was something like that. It was basically just because Vallecano just wouldn't let you do what you wanted to do because they were pressing monsters and they worked so incredibly hard. And I think there's definitely a point where the players are still warming up to this method, and I don't think you can quite, because the La Liga is not quite played at the same speed that the Premier League is played at. So it's never going to quite hit the same scope as what Iraola was going to do at Vallecano, I don't think. But he has more quality in this side, so it sort of excites you as to what we could do in other ways. And obviously, he's a young coach, and he knows what he wants, and he has got good results so far. So compare that to a lot of other managers that are around, he is definitely a draw. There's no doubt about that.
Mark, a lot of the players that have come in their interviews as well as said that it's the project is very exciting. The head coach had a massive part. I don't know if they just want to get picked in the starting 11, but each individual transfer is mentioning those two things.
Yeah, I think that was part of the decision, obviously, to get rid of O'Neill and bring in someone who had that draw. I think I was as shocked as anyone when O'Neill went, and I'm sure that's a different. You've had a show about that and whatnot, but yeah, I do think having someone like Iraola who is he's got a clear style of play, he's got obviously a bit of experience behind him across Europe. I think it does make a huge difference. And yeah, would we have signed the players that we've signed had we not changed our manager? I don't think we would have, personally.
I do want to come to you as well, Mark, while we've got you on this stream, because you did a fan debate video a while ago. We spoke about Dom Solanke. I don't think a day goes by when we probably don't talk about Dom Solanke. Then was a while ago, back in last season, you said, I'm not ready to bench Dom. I'm not ready to lose faith in Dom. Where are you at now with Dom Solanke?
Still the same. I think even just I wasn't at the game on Tuesday night, but he came on at half time and it changed the game. I'm not saying he was the only one that changed the game, but we don't have anyone else that offers that. And people talk about goals and all of that stuff, but how, he was involved in the goals, or at least a couple of them on Tuesday. I just think too much is put on goal scoring. If you're scoring goals within the team, which generally we are, I have no issues where they're coming from, and Dom offers far too much for me to even think about benching him still, in my opinion.
Is his position too comfortable though? Or are you quite happy with the setup of our squad, and especially at the top end of the pitch?
Yeah, I'd like to see competition, of course. And he has none of that at the moment. I mean, you've got people like Semenyo and like even Clive play through the middle in pre-season friendlies. So I assume he was flirting with the idea of who he could play in the current team instead of Dom if, he picked up an injury or Dom's form dropped or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet, no doubt, at the moment. And would I like to see more competition? Of course. But do I think we need someone playing instead of Dom? I don't necessarily think we do at this moment in time.
What I do need you to do, though, Mark, is to play our game where we are putting players in a tier list with a twist. So you have got 4 players to pick from for the next stage. You've got Hamed Traore, Justin Kluivert, Max Aarons, and Tyler Adams. So who would you like to go for?
I'll check with John. I'm pronouncing this right, but I think it's Tyler Adams is his name. Is that right, John?
Yeah, you want to go with Tyler
roll,
Adams?
Roll the A.
Yeah.
If you can do that.
Roll the A.
There is an R in his name, Steve. We could have gone with that, but
Nah. Who was the first one of the surname?
Yeah.
Mark, you've got absolute bargain. What we needed, good squad addition, 50-50. So where are you wanting to plant Tyler Adams?
I mean, it's similar to what Aaron said, because you could see him fitting in a few of these categories. I think, yes, we haven't seen him yet, but what he has got over a lot of our other signings is Premier League experience. A lot of these haven't played in the Premier League before. And when you actually compare how much he cost compared to his replacement, how much Jefferson Lerma cost us, 5 years ago, you're looking at a similar amount. And I do think potentially Adams' ceiling's higher. I think it's sensible because obviously Foley wants to grow our market in America, and signing the captain of America, the American national team is, I didn't want to call him Captain America, I apologize.
Fell into that.
Yeah, signing the captain of the American national side, I think, is very sensible. I think it will do a lot of good in America and growing the team's popularity. So I would personally put him in absolute bargain. But he could easily go in what we needed, because ultimately he is what we needed.
What we needed is coming through the chat. John, I must admit, I think how this is playing out, I'd put him in what we needed. I can also see absolute bargain, but we haven't seen him yet in a Bournemouth shirt. But what was it, 22 to 25 million pounds?
Yeah. I do think that if it's, I mean, maybe I'm still stuck in remembering what transfers used to be like, but I do find it a bit odd when you hear people of like the big clubs saying like, "Oh, 40 million, what a bargain!" It's like, no, there's no such thing as a bargain when you're spending that much that much money. For me personally, and I do think that when you think about outside of, obviously we've already put Kirkes in, if there was a spot on the pitch that had a massive hole in it that needed filling, it was that ball winning defensive midfielder. So I do think Tyler Adams should go into what we needed personally.
I do feel like I want to go there as well, Steve. Your thoughts? Mark wants to put him in absolute bargain, but it is definitely what we needed, especially when Jeff Lerma walked out.
Yeah, I must admit, Mark, sorry, but I was leaning towards what we needed because we were, like John said, we were desperate for it. But equally, he is a bargain. But for me, there's a better bargain in what's left there.
Mark, are you okay with that? Because you did actually say he is what we needed.
Yeah.
But I'll probably just put him an absolute bargain. But we're probably going to go with what we needed because the chat are also saying that as well.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think the other thing I didn't mention is how annoyed it made Leeds fans, and I think that pushes them up a bracket or two. But
that's exactly what we needed.
Yeah. Well, that is also what we needed.
That's what we needed.
Yeah, but no, I'm happy with that. I think it's clear that was the one position we 100% needed someone to come in for. And to be fair, we haven't seen him play yet, so to put him right at the top of the list would be maybe unfair on some of the others.
Mark, great to see you on this latest stream. Thank you for all your support to the channel and for being a monthly member. Saturday, are you going to Brentford?
I will be, and Amy's making the trip on Saturday. Her last away game was Forest away, so
good track record.
Sweet.
Yeah, not bad.
What a day that was.
Well,
Can I tempt you for a score prediction then, Mark, before we let you go?
Let's go for the same score. Let's go 3-2. Why not?
Ooh.
Fantastic. Mark, great
to
see you. Have a good weekend. Hopefully get the win, and we'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having me on, Kirk.
No worries. Absolutely fine. I tell you what, we've got one more guest backstage.
Saturday,
let's just roll out Steve for 5 minutes. Let's bring Aaron back into the stream. And we've also got Morgan Scott, who wants to have a say on the summer transfer window. Aaron is back, and guess who's here? It's Morgan Scott. How you doing, Morgan?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Sorry I'm a bit late. Well, a little bit late, but maybe I'm as good as the additional 9 minutes at the end of matches in the Premiership this season so far. So, apologies, but thanks for having me quickly.
Fashionably late, Morgan. Fashionably late.
Don't apologise at all, Morgan. Great to see you. So tell us about how you're feeling about AFC Bournemouth after 3 Premier League games and 1 Cup game, and then we'll see how you're feeling about the transfer window so far.
Yeah, I like the new identity of AFC Bournemouth. I think it's been lacking for many seasons now. I like the high press. I think it's going to get better as we get more squad depth. I think at the moment we're starting games with an identity. I thought at Anfield we were spot on for the first 20-25 minutes. Their penalty makes the game in a different direction. I hate to say it, I don't want to base it on referees. And then we just, unfortunately, we get a bit leggy towards the latter stages, and we're going maybe 8, 9, 10 minutes into additional time, and we just haven't got the numbers to get us through. But I reckon eventually we will be more competitive at this level than we already are at the moment. And I don't think with the fixtures that we had as well, we're not looking too bad. I think that point against West Ham is a massive point against West Ham. They won the Conference League last season. They look excellent in their other game. They beat Brighton, who are then, as we know, are sensational. So, no, it's really exciting.
Aaron, I know that some fans were maybe worried when we were losing to Swansea in the Cup, and I was speaking to you on WhatsApp and I said, it'll be fine. Just remain calm. This is going to be a long process. Andoni needs to get this team playing how he wants it to play. I think it's been a long time since a lot of these players have been coached this way. like John's spoken about and Steve's spoken about, we're not pressing as a unit. There is a bit of press and then we fall asleep and then there's gaps. And yeah, we are being punished at times. I'm confident it'll all come together. Get some of these new signings on the pitch. I still think this will end very, very well for us this season.
Yeah, I'm optimistic. I think at half time on Tuesday, although I wasn't at the game, I was listening to it, and all the sounds of people who were actually at the game it was just a diabolical first half, and you kind of what's going on here. We've got a strong team out, Swansea are struggling, and I think we're just all desperate for that first win. In any competition, it's always so important just to get that first win chalked off. So we did it in the end, and the second half was much better. I think John touched on a point earlier that it's a very different league. Other than obviously Barcelona, Real Madrid, and a couple of others. You're coming up against a better quality of player in the Premier League. So sometimes they're able to play through the press. So Iraola was very successful at Royal Vallecano playing this style. And I'm not saying it can't be successful here. I think it can be, but it does take time. And also you might have to tweak it in certain situations and against certain teams and just be a bit careful because, it's not always going to be the right factor. But no, absolutely. As Morgan pointed out, as we've all pointed out, these fixtures are really hard. And I know you've got to play everyone twice, but it's a really hard hand we've been dealt at the beginning of the season with a new manager. So, and with the injuries we've got, so it's really compounding everything. So, yeah, definitely patient. And I think we've got to be patient because I do think that the next few results might be tricky.
Morgan, as a Bournemouth fan, has this been one of the most exciting transfer windows so far in your life of supporting the Cherries?
It's been very, very good. And the better news is that we haven't had Shane Long this time. So, no, in that regard, no, I think it's been fantastic. We spent a lot of money and we needed a transition. I think since from the first time we went to the Premiership to now, we had them players for many, many seasons and going up the leagues through League Two up to the Premiership. And now we needed a transition. I think Tyler Adams is a brilliant investment. And I'm glad that the US have left him a lane of calling him up. Thank you very much for that, because keep him fit for when we need him. And the other players that we signed, we saw the keeper the other night. Is it Radu? Is that pronounced?
Don't ask me. Apparently, I say it wrong.
Well, I still don't know if it's Marcus Tavernier or Marcus Tavernier. So no, I know it's Tavernier, but it's exciting. Kirk is probably the standout in my opinion. I think for a 19-year-old left back, we've been crying out for one. He's injured. Morgan. Oh, okay. Thanks for that's Steve. But I think I think it's been really exciting, and hopefully the players that we have signed will be additions with our current squad that are sensational as well, and that will keep us in the Premiership for the 8th season. So, no, it'd be really interesting to see, won't it? And we can only kick on. I think Alex Scott as well. It'd be interesting to see how he performs in the Premiership. He was a brilliant player at Bristol City last season, and for the other seasons he's been there. So no, it'd be really interesting to see when they're all fit and healthy.
Is it a good thing, John, that Tyler Adams hasn't been called up for international duty? I mean, I'm hoping it's a good thing because he doesn't want to risk potentially coming back too early, or is it a bad thing that maybe the injury's a little bit worse than we anticipate?
I think that just generally you don't really want players that aren't fit that haven't really shown the ability to play going off for international duty. You hear it now and again, even with England players, like the guy's not played for 2 months or whatever, and suddenly he's called up to England. You're just going, really? One, are you that desperate? And two, surely you'd rather he prove his fitness first. And for us, I think obviously if he was called up and he wanted to go, I think Bournemouth wouldn't hold him back. But you want him to just maintain his rehab, get more used to the area as well. He's still, I mean, it's a thing that, we as fans just don't think about in terms of like, have they bought a house yet? Have they moved their family down? Have they found that takeaway that they really want, that they go to every couple of weeks? Although the players themselves hopefully aren't getting any takeaways, but it's just all the things that you do when you go to a new area. Those players still need to fit in, and if Tyler Adams, Alex Scott, although obviously Scott is originally from came to Bournemouth all the time as a kid, when he was in the academy. you want the players to get used to the area. You want them to settle down. You want them to be comfortable where they are. And Adam's going away with America for 2 friendlies. Let's not forget they don't have to qualify for the World Cup. They're not playing any competitive fixtures. So going off for 2 friendlies would be a bit of a kick in the teeth if he was to leave us. But hopefully he sticks around and hopefully he's fit coming off the back of the international break. That is what we've been hearing, is that he may be able to start or at least be involved in the first fixture after the break.
Morgan, we need your help because we need another player on the board. So left to pick from is Hamed Traore. We've got Max Aarons and we've got Justin Cliver and we've got 3 rows. Absolute bargain, good squad addition, 50-50. So who do you want to talk about, Morgan?
I'll go with Cliver.
Justin Cliver. And what row would you like to put him in?
Has the exciting potential. I think he is still 24 years old.
I'm going to have to stop you there, Morgan, unfortunately. Maybe you weren't around. We haven't explained the rules to you. You can't put more than 1 in a row. So you're actually restricted at the moment. You can either put him in absolute bargain, you can put him in good squad edition, or 50-50, because we're swapping the rules over on this game. So having another look, where do you think you would put him in the 3 remaining spots?
Well, this is a bit like VAR in itself, isn't it? No, I'm joking. I will go with absolute bargain then. As no one is in there at the moment.
And why do you want to do that, Morgan?
I think the fact that he's still 24 years old, I think that he's got a future here. If we want him to have a future for many years here, hopefully he'll grow in confidence and be a very good player. And then eventually, if we do want to sell him on, we can make a bit of profit on him. And I just think he's got I think he shows a little bit of skill down the flank that we might not have. I think the way that he at Anfield, he came on and he drove at people a lot more and he was quite direct. And I think he's been I think in pre-season as well, he was pretty decent. So that's why I would put him in there. Yeah.
Aaron, I'm looking at Justin Cliver thinking he could probably go in all of them.
Just about to say. Yeah.
One of them. I've got a few chat comments coming through here. So Philip wants 50-50 for Justin Cliver. So does David from Australia. Steve has gone for squad rotation. Do put your thoughts in the chat. Carol's gone for squad addition.
Yeah.
Where are you at, Aaron? This is a difficult one.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because he is a good squad addition. And at the moment, I am 50-50 on him. But I'm just looking at the other 2. And I'm not convinced they're absolute bargains. Whereas Clivert's fee, what was it, 9 million? 10 million? Was it?
Yeah, it was a 10. Yeah, it was about 10 million.
I mean, for a young, quite exciting potential winger, I know he's kind of been around the block, but he's actually still very young. I'm wondering whether we're forced to then go with what Morgan said from a bargain point of view, because it wasn't, again, as Jon said, it pains me to say it wasn't a huge amount of money. Well, it clearly was, but in the grand scheme of it wasn't. So I'm looking at the other 2. Certainly, one of them was quite a lot of money. It wasn't necessarily an absolute bargain, and I could see the other one going in another option. So, yeah, Cliver definitely would be suited to all 3. But I'm just on the basis of the other 2, I'm maybe inclined, and the price we paid for him, I'm maybe inclined to go with bargain. And I'm hoping he does flourish, and because I am on the fence with him at the moment.
And also, just to come back in there as well, if you don't mind, Kirk, while I was on international duty in Holland earlier in the summer, I spoke to an Ajax fan while I was out there, and he said that Justin Cliver was one of their best players last season, and he was really sad to see him go to AFC Bournemouth when it was looking like it. So maybe that just wins it in ahead of Max Aarons and Hamed Traore.
And Jon,
how much do we pay for Aarons again?
6.9.
Yeah, I was thinking 7, but
that's another.
Jon, we've got to make a decision on this.
Turns out I was quite close.
We want to talk about deadline day, so we've got to make a decision on this. There's a lot of 50-50s in there. It might require a count, but I don't think we got time for it. What's your thoughts, very quickly?
Yeah, I to be honest, he could definitely go in all three, as you mentioned. I don't see him as quite the bargain that I see Aaron's, I would say. But there is a big upside to both. And yeah, I think a lot of people are quite 50-50 on him at the moment, hence all the comments in chat, because he's not played a lot, but when he has played, I don't think people have been as impressed. I think I've quite liked him at times, but at the same time, I think there's more. I need to see a lot more from him, and I haven't really seen that yet. He hasn't had the chance to, I will grant that, but the moments he's come on, he hasn't combined with players as much as well as I'd like him to. And he got his first assist, obviously, against Swansea for Christie. So hopefully we'll see him doing more of that during the season.
Morgan, I tell you what, and this is an opportunity for you to come back to me in 6 months' time and say, I told you so. I told you so, Kirk. We are going to put him in 50-50. I think 50-50 in the chat has just nudged it, but it's very close between bargain, squad, 50-50. So we'll go for that. Morgan, it's been great to have you on here. Expecting Bournemouth to be part of transfer deadline day tomorrow?
I think we're all done and dusted, if I'm honest with you. I think we have had a great season. I expect Jamalo to maybe go out on loan or maybe a permanent, because I don't think he's in the plan whatsoever. He's not been in pre-season, or he's been training on his own with the 21 for a while, and he played in their friendly against Paul Town. Kiefer Moore, I think maybe he might go, but with him, I think we need another striker personally to come in before he goes out. So I think he might just be able to hang on by the skin of his teeth. But apart from that, I think that's Bournemouth done, and then we can enjoy the rest of the season, because I don't like going into a season. I know it's always the same, but I don't like this speculation, players being able to move teams during the season. They can't concentrate. No one can concentrate. It's all the speculation. And then we don't have any of this nonsense again until January. So maybe we can rest for a few months and then have another good season. But yeah, we won't be having a mad one like Shane Long or any of that this time around. But no, it's been great to be on, and thanks for having me.
All the best,
feeling
Morgan.
You're happy that Shane Long is not going to be in a Bournemouth shirt the end of tomorrow, 11 p.m.
There's nothing against Shane Long, but really.
No,
But anyway, we won't. We'll maybe save that conversation for another time.
Score prediction for Saturday against Brentford away?
Oh, Brentford away. I'm confident. It's not an easy place to go. They haven't got their main man, Mr. Tony, although Mberbe and their other player look very, very good. I'm going to nick it. We're going to get a penalty in the 90th minute. We haven't had one in a very, very long time. It's got to happen at some point. There's even better news. Gillett won't be the referee there he sent Chris Mepham off, rightly so, didn't give us a penalty. Had a bit of a mare last time, didn't he? We even saw that on Sky Sports, the way they were mic'd up. So hopefully this time he gives us, the referee on the day, who I don't know who it is, gives us a penalty in the 90th minute, and we have limbs in the away end.
Score?
You heard it here first.
Yep.
Score? What score?
Oh, well, with the penalty, 1-0, Solanke.
1-0.
90th minute.
You heard it here first. If we get a penalty on Saturday, Morgan predicted it. Morgan, have a good rest of the week. Look after yourself at the weekend. Enjoy the cherries. Let's get Steve back onto the screen. Let's finish the tier list and let's talk about tomorrow and some of the rumours that have been doing the rounds in the last few hours. Please do subscribe to the channel, do hit the like button, and in the interactive chat, we need your help to finish this tier list. So we're going to go for Hamad Traore in the chat. Hamad Traore, and we've got Absolute Bargain and Good Squad Edition left. Welcome back, Steve. Hamad Traore, Absolute Bargain or Good Squad Edition?
Well, not a lot of choice really, but it's good. Out of those two, Good Squad Edition. It's got to be.
Yeah,
he was quite expensive, wasn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think it was very close to maybe the highest fee we've ever paid for a player, John. I think he's very close to it.
Yeah, I think he's just short of what we paid for Lerma. I think it's something like Lerma was basically 25 million and Traore is like 23 and a half. It's quite a significant amount. And for a player that, it's weird. It almost seems like Iraola just doesn't quite seem to favour him at the moment. I mean, there was that I think there was some kind of conversation that I think he had with the journalist talking about the new players that are coming in. The journalist mentions Traore and he goes, Traore was already here. And then he's also not really getting any starts until the cup game, and I'm glad that he stayed on the full 90 and was able to score 3 goals. Just shame 2 of them were offside, but he did put the ball in the back of the net 3 times. I think for the time being, he's definitely a good squad addition, but he does have a lot of potential. There's no doubt that he's shown that he could be. He could provide that spark from the number 10 role. He really could, and I'd like to see him play that more, just to prove what he can do, because a lot of fans' last sort of memories of him is going to be sort of like the good chance that he fluffed against at home to Brighton, or the odd time where he shot instead of passed, when I think he just needed to be able to combine better and get more used to his teammates. But yeah. He really is. He could be a lot more, but for now, he's shown himself to just be a comfortable squad addition.
Yeah, showed good glimpses last season, Aaron. We activated that permanent deal, had a good cameo against Liverpool where they were down to 10 men. Didn't show it at times, but it did in the last 10 minutes when he came on. He came on against Tottenham. It was a very much a different fixture when he came on for that, and then made a difference the other night against Swansea and got a goal.
Well, I was at the first game he played against Brighton away last year, and he was like, I thought he was the best signing I thought he was going to be the best signing we've ever had. I mean, he was literally unbelievable that day, and I was like, blimey, like this guy's like going to be incredible. He needs to run him a team for me. I mean, and that might have to be the expense of someone like Christie, who Iraola obviously loves and with good reason because of his work rate. And obviously scored on Tuesday night, but it's all about numbers for Christie. If we've said it time and time again. You can't play the number 10 if you're not getting the numbers, however hard you work, however much of a shift you put in. And Traore clearly's got an eye for goal. I think now he's off and running with a goal. Hopefully that'll do his confidence a world of good. He gets in good positions. He obviously had a couple of goals ruled out for offside, but he does get in those good positions. And I think he's a confidence player, and I think he needs a good run in a team. He's undoubtedly got great qualities. He was disappointing against Tottenham. But yeah, good squad addition for sure. But again, when everyone's fit, we were talking earlier, how's he going to get in this team? But he clearly has the ability to, and I think he's just got to nail a place down.
That does mean that Max Aarons goes into absolute bargain, just under £7 million, Steve. By default, didn't really have a choice. He had to come straight into the side because we had no recognised right back. I think he's doing okay. I don't think he's overlapping as much as I thought he would, but I think, again, his fitness might be a bit short, had no pre-season at all. I actually see him cutting a lot, a bit like Smith. He comes in a lot and looking to go inside the winger and then back out. But again, needs that winger to also help him to get the overlaps going. But I am excited by Max Aarons. I think the fee's brilliant.
Yeah. Before we even did this, he was my absolute bargain, because if you look at how much he cost us and how much Milos, Kirk has cost us, there's a 10 million difference. I'm not saying that he's a better player or on the same level, or has the same ceiling as Kirk has. But for the amount we paid for both of them, you've got to look at that one and say it's a bargain. Anything in the Premier League, it's under 10 million is going to be some sort of bargain in my eyes these days anyway. I mean, I've just seen Man City pay 45, although Chelsea pay 45 million for Cole Palmer. I mean, that's crazy money. That's where we are nowadays. But yeah, he's one of them players. We kept saying this for a long time, didn't we? We sort of wondered why he hadn't got a move, and he was always touted as a really good prospect. But seeing him up close and personal, I'm liking what I've seen so far. Like you say, he does tend to come inside a bit. He does it quite deep as well. He's not afraid to do it in his own half and go past the player if he's in his situation. So I like the fact he's got confidence on the ball. Yeah, it'd be nice to see him get up and down a bit more. And like I said, on Tuesday night, when he started we became a lot more of a threat down that side than we had been previously in the first half. So yeah, I imagine he'll evolve and he'll get more used to the system as weeks go past, and his fitness will get up, and I think he'll become a real asset.
Brilliant. There we go, guys. The tier list worked with a twist. All that panic earlier on. I was getting so much stick. From them. They were like, "It will never work."
Right,
You're not making
everyone in the
sense.
chat, you should have heard the way he explained it. That's the problem.
There we go. Let's show it on the screen again. That's what we were trying to achieve, and we achieved it. So yeah, great fun. Thank you from those fan contributions as well, guys. Let's move on to deadline day tomorrow. Then 11 p.m. That's when it closes. I want to mention a couple of things. Let's start with Jacob Tanswell, who now covers Aston Villa for The Athletic, but he does drop back and do a few bits for AFC Bournemouth. He said today, AFCB are prepared to let James Hill, Gavin Kilkenny, Jamal Lowe and Kiefer Moore leave before Friday's deadline. Moore will be allowed to go if a replacement is found. Hill has interest from the Championship and Kilkenny from Scotland. Any surprises there, John?
None at all. In that, to be honest, I'm more surprised that Jamal Lowe hadn't gone already, because he was never going to be involved in the team. And he was on loan at QPR last season. He did okay, I think. I think he got something like 3 goals and 2 assists, 3 goals, 1 assist in 20 appearances, something like that, which is not exactly great numbers, but certainly can, provide something to a team in the Championship. That's definitely his level. And he's been linked to, I saw him linked to Hibernian, Sheffield Wednesday, I think quite possibly back to QPR again. There's been like 3 or 4 Championship clubs that he's been linked with. Then we've also got James Hill, who I believe is on his way to Blackburn Rovers, as far as I've seen with the most recent. Has that been announced yet, Aaron's?
No, it looks like it's going to happen.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to happen. I think that as mentioned there by Omid, if Marcondes had been fit, he would have definitely gone as well. But he's had this injury that he's had since the end of last season, so there was no way he was going to be moving on, and the club need to make sure that they can rehabilitate him properly before he moves on in January. And then, we've got Gavin Kilkenny. He needs game time. He desperately needs more game time, because if he doesn't make a success of whatever his next loan move is, we'll have to sell him, because he has to start showing it if he's going to want to be involved in this team in the Premier League. And then Kiefer Moore is just not the player that was scoring goals for us for fun in the Championship anymore. As you've seen by that opportunity that he fluffed his lines on. So Menu set him up against Liverpool, where he was 10 yards out, smashed the ball straight over the bar under no pressure. The headers that he was putting in that game, the lack of impact at all for Swansea against Swansea. Obviously, I didn't see the game, but certainly Steve and others have let us know that he wasn't doing anything. Admittedly, the team wasn't working either, but just like it's pretty clear all those 4 players should need to move on to get game time. But the only thing is that I really don't see Moore moving on, because I don't think we're going to get that replacement in, and we're going to have to bear with. Well, that's harsh. We're not going to have to bear with him. He's going to have to do better to show what he can do for this team coming on for the last 15 or 20 minutes of games to help Solanke rest, because, dear Lord, he's going to need it. He's played a lot of game time in the last couple of years.
Aaron, it seems to be 1 for 1 then on the striker front. Kiefer Moore out, a striker coming in, and a few fans, including myself, do want that striker. I do hope, though, Aaron, that if Kiefer Moore does end up going on loan or permanently, I hope we do just see him on his way respectfully. This guy kept the wheels on the track during our promotion push. He was unbelievable at the end of that Championship season. He kicked off our Premier League season with a goal, and confidence has gone.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think if he'd have been fit, doesn't he get injured when we first brought him in? Didn't he get in the Championship? I think we would have probably won the league more comfortably. That's how much of an impact he was for us. But as you said, he came on at Swansea and got those 2 goals, and obviously that famous goal against Forest. And at the beginning of the Premier League season, he was unplayable. He was unplayable against Tottenham. Scored 2 headers against them. Scored against Villa. Scored 1 or 2 against Everton. I think threw himself in there, and that's the best of Kiefer Moore. But certainly in this pressing game and in the way as I was talking earlier about wanting speed and on the shoulder and everything, he's never going to be anything more than a plan B, if you're losing and throwing it on, but that doesn't seem to also be working with him. So yeah, always go down as an absolute legend for me. And I think, I want him to be the best he can be and the happiest he can be. And that's probably back in the Championship for him. And as I said, because for me, we definitely need that second striker to challenge Dom. And if we have to let someone go, if we have to let Keitha go to get him in, then Keitha's got to go. So yeah, I mean, if we don't bring anyone in tomorrow, I'm not going to be overly disappointed. As I've already said, I think Semenyo can play that role. I'd like to see Semenyo there. As I said, when all the wingers are fit and available, Semenyo doesn't get in the team on the wing ahead of the likes of Tavernier, Dango, etc. So Semenyo through the middle could be a real option. And the way he started the season, he could be the backup stroke challenger to Dom. But maybe I'm being greedy, but I really hope we bring in a really exciting striker tomorrow. But I don't know.
Also, just pick up this comment from Paul Horry. Thought James Hill was a massive prospect, plays for England under 21s. And I think a low move similar to Travers can help James Hill, Paul. Now, Steve, this popped up a few hours ago. We had a quick discussion about this in our chat as well. Fabrizio Romano has said Tottenham considering possible move for Lloyd Kelly from Bournemouth in the last 24 hours. No formal bid concrete yet, as depends on outgoing. Spurs need players to leave. Bournemouth would need to replace Kelly. Not easy. Also, Eric Dyer could be offered as part of the deal. Quickly, you head over to X, Twitter, and this is split in opinion. I'm a bit surprised on this, actually, because automatically I went, good time for Kelly and the club to probably part ways. Maybe Kelly needs a fresh challenge. We know that the fans have given him stick for a long time when he misplaces a pass. Eric Dyer has got lots of experience at international level, played in Europe, still only 29, and instantly come to my mind was the fact that he can do a role at CDM. I actually think if there's a deal like this to be done, which I'm not sure there is because wages are probably going to come into play, I would do it. But there are fans out there that can't see it at all.
No, I'm with you. I think when I read it, I was like, wow, that seems like, snap your hand off if that was offered, because I struggle with seeing it happening because there seems to be a lot of moving parts here. You got to discuss personal deals with the two players. I can't see it just being a straight swap because that's not just how things work. It would be. I would take it all day long. As you said, Kelly's got a year left. He's had I wouldn't say it's been plain sailing for him at the club. He's had ups and downs, and he doesn't seem to be quite right for me. So maybe he does need a new challenge, like you say. And to bring in somebody of Eric Dyer's quality, no matter what people's opinion of him is, he has played international level, played in Europe, started his career abroad with Sporting. Came through their academy, I believe. So he's got a wealth of experience, and like you say, he can also fill in at CDM. So for me, if that were to come about, I would absolutely snap your hand off for it.
John, Carol would love to see Eric Dyer in a Bournemouth shirt. Paul Horry says 10 million plus Dyer is the dream. We spoke about this, John. You have a slight concern about not really having enough left-footed centre-backs or someone that can cover at left-back, but you're not against this. You do see if it's available and achievable, there is some good signs in the deal.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I did sort of double take and think first off, it's like, no, surely not. But then you think about it a second, you realise, hang on, wait a minute, but this could work. I do think we definitely need to be offered cash plus Dyer. I do think just the way that particularly the market is switching to seemingly paying for the prospect more so than ever before. You look at how much young players are going for, and Kelly obviously being 24, I believe, as opposed to Dyer's 29. I suppose it's more about the wages when you get that old, which might be the sticking issue with us. But it's the cover at centre of defensive midfield which really appeals, because he can slot in straight away when Adams is, let's face it, Adams has shown maybe has a bit of an injury issue that you want to ease him back from slowly. The problem for me is that, one, it means that even our left-footed cover at left back would be gone. Because as much as you say, like, Tavernier could play there, I'd go, yeah, but I don't want Tavernier as a straight left back. If it's a wing back, fine, but not that defensively reliant on him. And then Adam Smith, I just don't want to see him play at left back again personally. Fredericks, we've never seen him there apart from that terrible game against Southampton. Did he start a left wing back? I don't feel it was that Adam Smith. I can't remember. But either way, I don't want to see him there either. But it is that left-footed centre back as well that I feel that Iraola just would really prefer to have at on the left side of that back too, because it changes the passing angles when you have a right-footed player there. We saw how much Mepham struggled when he was asked to be more of a ball player and play on that left side as a right footer. Cookie was able to do it because he was so used to it and he had a decent left foot, which I think Dyer does have as well, just obviously not as good as his right. So I think there are definitely concerns I would have, particularly at that left centre back as a left centre back reserve, and then at left back. But there are definitely positives, and I wouldn't be totally against the move at all. And bear in mind, Dyer is also in the last year of his contract, so he also is looking for a way out of Tottenham, I would imagine. But it would be a bit of a drop off to go from being linked to Bayern Munich to coming down to us at Bournemouth.
Well, we're heading to Europe 5 years.
Hey, we're mixing it with them now, John.
It's a good point that I've had come up in the chat. I've had it on Twitter as well, where pace is the big thing here. If you take Kelly's pace away, Aaron, bring in Dyer. But I'm looking at the picture of the experience, the versatility he might have in between positions. If you look at Kelly's attributes, Aaron, if it was in full flow and he was high in confidence, he wasn't detrimented by fans being disappointed with his passing, I would agree. And his contract was healthy. But we haven't got that. We've got an inconsistent Kelly. He struggles with injuries. His confidence is a bit all over the place. And if there's a chance, as I said to John and Steve, to do this, I think it's a good deal to be done. I think we can get to January. Although I agree with John, I don't really want Adam Smith playing left back. Moaned about that enough in my time. Fredericks can do a deal if he ever gets fit. Do a job. Tavernier, fit, can do a job at left back. Even Aarons could potentially do that. It's not the answer, but I think we can get to January and then maybe solve the left back cover. But we can't get to a situation where we have another Lerma problem and Kelly walks out the door for nothing.
I'd be surprised if this happens. I can't see it for a lot of reasons. I don't think Iraola will want to lose the pace of Kelly. I think the cover he provides at both positions. It's the consistency side of it. You're right. He's not an Nathan Ake by any stretch. So we're also relying then on Senesi and Kirk is not getting injured for the next few months, and you just don't know what's going to happen. So much as I do rate Lloyd Kelly, he has some outstanding games at times, and when he is outstanding, he really is outstanding. But it doesn't happen often enough. And for me, he's brilliant cover for both positions. He probably might not be happy with that, but if he went to Tottenham, he'd be the cover for Van der Ven for sure, which is what probably they're looking at. But here's the perfect cover. And if we lost him and Eric Dyer was to come in, look, I'm certainly not against Dyer for the reason you said. CDM, he's experienced. He's only 29. He's got 46 England caps. He's not first choice for Spurs anymore, but he's really not a bad player. But then you lose a bit of the balance. So I'm not sure this would happen. There's massive positives to it happening, and there are big negatives to it happening. So I'm not sure if we're going to stick or twist on it.
So, Steve, 25 hours until the window closes. What do you think happens tomorrow? Are Bournemouth part of the transfer deadline day? Do we potentially get a striker in? Shea Adams is talking to Wolves. Where are you at with tomorrow?
Yeah, I think there's definitely outgoings, as Jacob's touched on, as we spoke about earlier. I think there's got to be outgoings if we want to bring anyone in, because I worry about how we sit with financial fair play at the moment, because we've spent a lot of money and seemingly haven't got rid of a lot either. So the Che Adams one doesn't excite me whatsoever. I don't think that's. Well,
Looks like he's getting Wolves as a done deal. It looks it.
I'm glad for them. I really am, because that one, I'd hate to see that personally. Don't rate him at all.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's what. Yeah, I'd like, we want to see a striker come in. That the big question is who. But like the club keep doing, they keep unearthing people we just didn't expect to see and think we could get. So it's going to be exciting, and I can't wait to see who they unearth and sort of, Fabrizio starts tapping. I mean, he's going to have a busy day tomorrow, isn't he? His fingers are going to be worn out, the poor bloke, on X. But
much as we all keep saying, like Dom has to be in his team, and Mark mentioned earlier, I think would either of the three of you feel flat if generally nothing happens and we are just left with Dom and
no,
Keith,
not at all.
You wouldn't? Okay.
No, I think we've still done really good business, and I do.
Yeah.
Mark brought this up earlier. That I don't know what's happened with the Daka rumour. Is anything more?
I think it's the price.
Is it?
I think Leicester wanted their money back, and he just hasn't delivered the money they spent for him.
Again, it didn't really excite me.
I could see why we were looking at Daka, but if they're talking 25 million, I mean, they're basically making their money back.
Yeah, it just didn't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Close to.
Well, look, it's the old adage: "It's not our money, is it?" At the end of the day, and if Bill can afford it, he can afford it. And if it falls within the financial fair play, then I couldn't care less. It's Bill's money, isn't it?
I mean,
true. But we do need to be, we can't go too far with it because it is certainly we're not Chelsea who seemingly can get away with anything they want to at this rate. But we are, and it was the interesting thing about the Steve mentioned it earlier, that table that was been brought up by Sky a few times as well, is that we're like 5th or 6th, I think, in terms of total net transfer spend in the world. It's anywhere from 5th to 7th, but that's net, obviously, whereas a bunch of teams maybe have spent more than to bring in, but they've also they've actually sold players to even that out. We've got to look at ways to bring the money in, and part of that will be player sales. And the gamble that Foley is taking at the moment is that he's brought in, apart from Radu, only players 24 and under that you'd think that depending on how successful they are, in 2 years, we'll be able to maybe double our money on. So that's why things need to pay out in terms of selling some of these players within the next within the next 24 months to make sure that we do fall within the profit and sustainability rules.
Well, we will need to be refreshing our phones a bit tomorrow. If you're working, try and do as much as you can, because
I'm just going to let Aaron tell me.
Aaron will tell us. I'll tell you what, we've had a brilliant stream. It's been great to have some contributions, some debuts on Cherries Red Army. You guys in the interactive chat, thank you so much. Let's quickly do, in the chat, final request, score prediction for Brentford on Saturday. So you've got 60 seconds. Put your score prediction for Brentford on Saturday in the chat. We'll show them on the screen. Good opportunity to also thank you, the monthly members, for supporting the channel, and the new members that have joined recently. You can become a member or donate to the channel at buymeacoffee.com/Cherries Red Army. Please do hit the like button on this video, though. That also helps very much. And subscribe if you're new around here. Steve, let's go around the room then.
Sorry,
Saturday,
just going to go back to, can I just bugger you up for a minute and just put a spanner in the works and go back to Lloyd Kelly? Say Eric Dyer's not part of the deal, and they still want to sign him. What's the price we're looking at, do you think?
Interesting, because I think 12 months ago, 20 million. But has he performed for 20 million?
And he's only got a year there.
We couldn't sell him for much less than that. A young English player with speed and left-footed centre-back. It wouldn't be worth it.
It's all those things. Yeah. It's all those things. Because he's English, premium on English players. He's still pretty young at 24. He's a left-footed centre-back. They're at a premium. And we paid 15 million for him, 13.5, I think, if I remember, when we brought him in from Bristol City. So you'd want to make your money back on that. It's probably between 15 and 20, I'd imagine.
I think we would do very well if we got that, to be honest with you. Steve, then. Brentford, Saturday, you're there. Score prediction. How are you feeling closer to kickoff?
I know we got a win on Tuesday night, but I'm still not convinced at this one. I think we'd be on the wrong end of a narrow defeat, unfortunately. 2-1.
Oh, we score this time though.
Yeah, we'll get a penalty. Morgan is so hell bent on us getting a penalty. We'll get a penalty.
I'm going to go to John now then, because I'm not confident John is going to have a win on the board. So what's your score prediction, John?
It's I'm pretty close between a narrow loss and a draw. I do think we may well lose, but I'm gonna go a bit more positive, and I'll go with a 1-1 draw. I'll flip the script, and we'll go for a 1-1 draw. But
we've changed places, John.
Yeah, exactly. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Brentford aren't missing Ivan Toney at all.
No,
and you could have told. I think could have told you that at the start, because my word, Visser and Mbeumo are frightening on the break. So yeah, I worry about balls over the top a lot, but I think we'll score. But yeah, I'll go 1-1. Be positive.
This time last year, roughly, was a 3-2 to Bournemouth at the City Ground. And that's what Chris Hubble's going for this Saturday. Paul Wright has gone for 1-1. Thanks for joining us. Mark has gone for a draw. Ben's going for the 3-1. The famous, haven't seen it yet last season, and we're still waiting for it this season. Amy's going for a draw. Stephen's going for 1-0. Mark Cole's going for 2-2. Mark Singleton 1-1. Paul Horry's going 4-2 to Brentford, I think. 2-1 to the Cherries. 2-1 to Brentford. Happy to be wrong. Mark Jackson's going for 3-2. Carol Toller's going for 2-2. We've got a 4-1. And I think we're talking about some fees here for Lloyd Kelly. Morgan's sticking with his 1-0 pen. Roy, Aaron, coming to you. 2-1 to
no point in
Cameron.
asking him.
Aaron, what's your score prediction on Saturday against Brentford?
He won't be in the ground, will he? He'll be kicked out by then.
I'm going to be really, really optimistic. I am very optimistic, and I think we're going to draw 2-2.
2-2.
Because you know what? It's like, we're broken records at the moment. We're so short. We've got so many injuries. They're on form. It's going to be very difficult, but I'd like to think, if we can play as well as we can, the likes of Billing, Traore, Chris, and Dom finishes any chances he gets, and we defend well, we can get a draw.
I think we're seeing it game on game a little bit. There's small improvements as we're going along, and I think as long as we keep seeing that, it will come to fruition sooner or later.
I'm going to give everyone a bit of hope. My away record is pretty rubbish, and I'm not there at the weekend, just like I wasn't last season when we got that win at Nottingham Forest. So I don't think we'll win. I don't think we'll win, but I don't think we'll lose. I think we'll get a draw and we'll get our second point on the board. Steve, interesting stream, good conversation. See what happens tomorrow. But great to have some new fans, some new voices this evening, and everyone in the chat. So it's been good to catch up and talk Bournemouth.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you all to all that came on tonight. It was good to have some different voices, different opinions, and spark some good conversations. So, hopefully we'll have lots more to talk about in the next Cherries in Focus with all our deadline day dealings.
Yeah, that's a good point. So Cherries in Focus, episode 8, potentially live or will be recorded out next week, where we'll react to that Brentford result. Also a good time to also tell you about Jon Spark's watch along on Saturday for Brentford. So if you're not going to the game, why not join John on YouTube for this one? 2:30, John, live 2:30 p.m.
Yep. We're going live half an hour before, as we always do. Things don't tend to get going until the match kicks off, but I do ramble on for the first half an hour, and you can join me for the whole roughly 3 hours I tend to be on when I'm doing these. But probably not. I don't want to force that on anyone. But yeah, if you're not going to the game, then please do feel free to put me on a second screen, get yourself involved in the chat. Ask me questions, whatever takes your fancy. But if you are watching, then please do get involved.
Aaron, on your best behaviour Saturday, they got your card. You know this. Enjoy the day.
Yeah, I actually, one thing you guys don't know is that was the second time I've been thrown out of Brentford. I've been
Done
fan
in
of Brentford before. I was me and Zach, because Joshua was too young. This is our championship season. We were in the home end, and we got spotted when one of us got a bit excited. So we got thrown out of that one as well. So got a good record at Brentford. And John, I promise to you, if I do get thrown out this time, I will join you on the watch along.
Just out of interest, how excited were you?
Well, they could clearly see
Smashing the
that we
place
were
up.
not. They could clearly see that we were not Brentford fans. Put it that way. And it was
Oh, you were
horrible.
in
I
the
hated it.
Brentford end.
Never doing that again. Yeah, I was in the Brentford end. Yeah.
Oh dear.
One more thank you to Mr. Paul Horry, who's just made a donation inside of YouTube for £2. Don't forget to hit the like. Thank you so much, Paul. Enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy the game. Saturday, right, brilliant, guys. We'll see what happens tomorrow then. Let's see if Bill Foley spends a little bit more money, maybe a striker. We will see some outgoings, I'm sure of that. And let's see whether Lloyd Kelly is still a Bournemouth player at 11 o'clock tomorrow night. Look after yourself. Take care. Follow the Cherries at the weekend. From me, John, Aaron, Steve, and all our fan contributions from earlier on. We'll see you on the next one. Up, Cherries.
Up
Up the cherries.
Bravo.